Hello, Beez Bladers! Welcome back. And if you're a first timer to the channel, a special welcome to you and thank you to my subscribers and everyone that remembers to tap the thumbs up or the thumbs down, I don't care. Everybody that says hello in the comments section, thank you. Thank you very much. And a special thank you to my Beez Bladers patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. After the video, go look in the description below. I've got 10% off discount codes to KPL Knife Pivot Lube, White Mountain Knives, who has free shipping, and Kizer Knives at Mojave Outdoor, who has the more bucks. You go check that out. You get more bucks added on the more you buy. There's a bunch of affiliate links to sharpening supplies and knives that I own and recommend, so go check all that out. And that's one way to support Beez Blades. So, enough of all that. Let's get into the knife in question. This is my full review of the Kizer Lan, and I gotta tell you, spoiler alert, I freaking love this knife, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So this one is still available as of this video's posting. Really like that. It's not too bad. Most of the time I don't like anything on the clip, but that's kind of classy. I kind of like it. It's very nice. So this is 69 bucks. You can't beat it. It's a really good deal. This is the G10 version. There's also a micarta version. I love that frag pattern. And it has a really good texture. I'll give you guys a little see a vision of that texture. Look at that. Would you just look at it? I love the texture of this thing. So if you want to take a screenshot, here's this side. And here's this side. I always try to give you guys a screenshot opportunity. And here's your blade. Would you look at that? That's very nice. Very, very nice. That is a nice looking blade. I remember the first time I was like, wait a minute, hold up, is that a hollow ground? Sure enough, it sure is. Take you all the way down, give you the tour. Just look at that. And the best is yet to come. You can see straight through there. You see you have some milling right there in that liner. And on this side, you have milling all the way down. Pop, 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 pop. Which takes away some of that weight for you. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the specs in case you missed my first impressions. Here's your specs. Are you ready? Are you set? Okay, the weight is 3.62 ounces. Total length is 7.875 inches from tip to tip. The blade length is 3.5 inches. Your cutting length is 3.375. Now your blade width is 0.88 inches. Your blade stock thickness is 0.12 inches, 120 thousandths, which is pretty much par for the course. Your blade thickness behind the edge is 8 thousandths on the flat and then 15 thousandths behind the tanto edge, which is very nice, very, very nice. The blade steel is Bowler N690, and this, like I said before, it's a hollow ground blade with a flat grind, and this is a tanto edge. Your handle length is 4.625 inches from tip to tip. The handle width is 0.875 inches, and the handle is an even ½ inch on the thickness. Right on the money. The liners and liner lock are coated stainless steel. It has a deep carry tip-up reversible pocket clip. Pow. See there where you're going to reverse it? It is tip-up reversible. Very nice. Very, very nice. And this is model number V4577. It's an Azo Ray design, and it's made in China. So as far as fit and finish, I mean, look at this. I've been using this thing. I've done a lot of cutting with it. Let me straighten up here. I've done a lot of cutting with it, and there's no marks on there. I kind of expected, with cardboard and stuff to really mark it up, but it cleaned off nicely. I was a little bit surprised by that. I got to say, a lot of times they get marked up. So let's take a look here. There's your markings. Get up nice and close for you. And on this side, you got your N690 and your Kizer. That's all the markings you got. That's not too bad. Not too hateful. I can live with that. So do we have any blade play? Absolutely zero. Any lock rock? None. I mean, this thing is solid as a rock. And wait till I show you the action. You guys, if you're in the knife world, you've seen this. And you've seen people talk about the action on this thing. But I'm going to talk about it in a minute here anyway. Because it is freaking amazing. This thing has cage ball bearings in the pivot. The lockup. Let's see if I can show you. There we go. We're still right there at about 50%. The blade still centered. I've had this thing, I think, for about a month or so now. It's time to send it back home. Got to send it to its home. But cutting has been a joy with this knife. I mean, this knife has been a joy to carry. It's in and out of the pocket like a breeze. You don't have anything in your way there. You can see that the screws are flush. The pocket clip is just right. It's really strong, but it's just right. And I'm going to do a couple size comparisons for you here. Now, width-wise, here's the Tenacious, Spyderco Tenacious. You can see, width-wise, they're pretty close. Pretty darn close. It's maybe a tad, a hair more than the Tenacious. Here's another common one. I now have this in the collection. Thank you very much to one of my patrons and subscribers. I really appreciate that. Donating this to the channel. Even has the red and black just like the channel, which is freaking awesome. Now we have one of the most common knives in the knife world to do comparisons with. How about that? But there's your Delica 4. You can see it's considerably thicker. I mean, not considerably, but it definitely is. Let me throw it. Here's one a lot of you guys have. Civivi Baklash. You can see there. There you go. Baklash is quite thicker. There we go. All right, let's try Civivi Imperium. They're pretty close. Pretty darn close. So I'm going to lay it down here, and we'll throw some up real quick like, so you guys can get an idea in case you've never handled one of these. That's the whole point of these videos, right? To give you guys an idea of the size and dimensions and everything of this knife, and how does it work, and do you want one? All right, so here, I'm going to throw up the norms. I'm going to square this up for you. I'm going to put up the norms for you real quick. There's your Spyderco Manix 2. Here's a Spyderco Tenacious. A lot of people's starter knife. So that gives you an idea. It's a full-size knife. It's not huge, but it's a full-size knife. Here's a couple more. Here's the Spyderco Pair 3. And the Spyderco Delica 4. You can see there you have more on the Delica 4. Or, I mean, you've got length on it. Pair 3, the handles are pretty close to the same, not quite. And you do get more cutting edge with that Tanto blade. I'm going to throw a couple more up here. Here's a Civivi Imperium. And then a very popular one, Civivi Baklash. A lot of you guys have the Baklash. So that'll help you get an idea of the size. See, it's not a small knife. It's not a huge knife. It's just right. Okay. Now for some deployment. Let me back these knives out of the way here. And back out a little bit. Show you some deployment. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. It just shuts like butter. I have not oiled this knife at all since I got it. It's been over a month. It's been in my pocket. I've worked out in the yard with it. It's gone with me to work I don't know how many times. This knife is fun to fidget with. Listen, here's your acoustics. Look at that. It just freaking drops shut. I would expect something that drops shut this much. That easy. And if you hold it straight down, it drops. I would expect it to have some blade play or be loose. It is not. It's solid. That's what just blows me away about this knife. It's fun to fidget. You can open it. You have a fuller. You see the fuller right here up top near the spine. You can use that to open it with your thumb pretty easily. I'm not big on thumb flicking, but it does work. So I kind of forget it's there because I'm not a huge flipper fan, but this one, it's so easy. Look at that. And you can push button it all day long. Pow, right in the kisser. And you can see I'm overdoing it right now because it is so fun to fidget with this knife. Left-handed. I'm not left-handed. I mean, look at that. Would you just look at it? I mean, the action is just unbelievable on this thing. And the cutting is just freaking awesome. I love this thing. Before I forget, quick housekeeping note. Don't forget to subscribe to Beez Blades. Thank you very much. And don't forget to select the bell button and hit all on there. It'd be awesome if you guys give me a thumbs up. I don't even care if you give me a thumbs down. Just say something in the comments. Even if it's not about the knife, say hi to me, say hi to everyone else. I really appreciate that. But as far as your deployment, that's your options. Now, there's some folks, I can't. I don't know if my fingers are just too fat, but I've seen other folks get their finger in here and do a reverse flick. I love reverse flick. It's my favorite deployment method, but I have to concentrate too hard to try to get it, and I can't do it. Every once in a while, if I got my finger in there just right, I can reverse flick it, but as you can see, it's not my thing with this knife, which was kind of a letdown. I wish maybe I had a little bit more room to get my finger in there so I could reverse flick it, But I mean, that's a really minor issue, but that would have made this knife so much more fun if I was able to reverse flick it. I can pinch it open, which I really like opening a knife like that. Just slow rolling it. And then back in the pocket. Look at that. I sit here and flick it like this. So just saying, fidget factor, even though there's not a lot of deployment options, the fidget factor is pretty darn sweet too on this knife. So what do I like about it? Pretty much everything I've described. And the only nitpick, I mean, oh, here you go, your ergos. I'm getting too excited. So 4 inches from here to here on my hand, 3.5 from here to here. From here to here is 7.25. So here's an idea of what it looks like in my hand with those dimensions. You can see I have plenty of room. I have a full purchase on the knife. It has a really, really good grip. And if I'm squeezing to push through, the only thing I'm feeling is this edge of the pocket clip. And pretty much any knife with a deep carry pocket clip like this, most 95% of the time you're going to feel the pocket clip. But pushing like this, I don't really feel it as much because of where my hand is. When I'm really giving it a full hammer grip, I'm feeling it. Now you do have a tiny little sharpening choil. I would say that would be a gripe, a small gripe as far as the sharpening choil. It's just really tiny. You can see the plunge grind ends about right there. So you're gonna have to be really careful to not hit that and put a smile on it when you're sharpening. But you know, that's a minor gripe. If you're really careful, you'll keep it looking clean. But with this coated blade, it's gonna be real easy to sharpen up into here, and that whole thing will look sharpened. Just saying. Got to mention it. I wouldn't call that much of any kind of a finger choil. I wouldn't choke up on that because you can see the edge of the blade. Edge of the blade is right there. So I wouldn't really recommend that. You can get up here like this if you really want to get into it. I wouldn't call this a heavy duty knife, but I said duty. But it is, I mean, it's pretty hefty. It's solid. I don't really have any other negative things. I'm trying to think of anything negative about this knife, but it's not coming to mind other than if I'm really, really getting into it, pushing some cardboard, this gets me right here. But I think that's to be expected. But that is something I have to mention, is you do feel the pocket clip. But other than that, just normal everyday use. I mean, I have found this thing, I love it. You know, I didn't have a Tanto. This edge, this Tanto edge right here is freaking phenomenal for opening boxes. Instead of, let me get a box here. So instead of using the tip or holding your hand irregularly or unnatural, when I opened boxes, I was going like this, and my fingers were going right on here, and I just go right down the edge. And I was opening boxes with this tip and not that tip, just the tip. But that was quite eye-opening. I really like this knife, and I do want one. I want this very knife, and I want to try some more Tanto blades because it's more utilitarian than I expected. Cutting is just a breeze. Oh, you've got that edge pointed this way, which is right natural with your hand. You don't have to point in with this tip to cut things. But you do have the option. You know, you can get in there. You have plenty of piercing to cut open a bag of whatever, bag of dog food, you name it. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. I don't have a whole lot of bad to say about it. I love this knife. I love the action, especially for the price and the steel and the ergos, the action. It's just, you know, I was warned when I borrowed it. Be careful, it's a guillotine. You ain't kidding. It just drops like nobody's business. So there you have it, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Appreciate your support. Appreciate all your feedback and your comments. You guys are making this so much fun. I just can't believe the knife community. It is just so awesome. But remember to live life in the present, keep a Band-Aid handy, and don't cut yourself.